Welcome to the Institute of Alternative Facts. Oh, yes, indeed, there are alternative facts. I am a world-renowned expert in that subject, and I even have my diploma here to prove it. In the immortal words of Kellyanne Conway,
you're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts.
And you know the expression, when you have two Jews, you have three opinions, and you have alternate realities, beginning with this video clip.
You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. There's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Weather Channel.
Yeah, indeed, the weather has been really strange lately. We've had 3 blizzards here in Minnesota, which isn't all that unusual here, but hey, you know, Los Angeles had blizzard warnings. They even had snow around the Hollywood sign. Now, of course, there are some scientific meteorological explanations as to why the weather's acting like this, like per this weather map. However, there are some alternative opinions. There are people who believe in something called chemtrails, that airplanes from the government are spreading chemicals up in the sky, changing the weather, controlling our minds. Now, that sounds a little crazy, but then, on the other hand, our cameras did capture this picture of the Trump jet spewing who knows what into the atmosphere. And I have another theory. And that is, this whole blizzard thing is a QAnon conspiracy. I mean, what better way to push their agenda than to turn everything white? In February of 2023, everybody was looking for the Green Comet, and most people found something like this in their telescopes. But we decided to point our telescope in a different direction, and we discovered this amazing object in space. Now, speaking of things in the sky, you will recall the Chinese spy balloon that was shot down over America. And not long after that, somebody spotted the German spy balloon. And then there was this pilot who claimed that a long cylindrical object passed over his plane. Oh no, I think the Star Trek whale probe has returned. We go now to the mathematics department, where in a 2019 survey, over 50% of the people surveyed believed that we should not be teaching Arabic numerals in school. Well, ladies and gentlemen, these are Arabic numerals, the ordinary numbers that we use every day. I mean, do you really want to go back to using Roman numerals? I don't think so. This is what 2023 looks like in Roman numerals. And while we are on the subject of numbers, it seems that good old Marjorie Taylor Greene, she of the Jewish space laser conspiracy, she tweeted out, and granted she did delete it later, but nevertheless she tweeted out saying that 6 billion people had crossed the U.S. border since Biden took office. Now, come on. There's only 8 billion people in the world, and here's somebody calculated this, how many days it would take and how many people per day. I think that Ms. Greene doesn't do very well in math. She probably was one of those people who could never find X in algebra. And now for a little bit of geography. The former president seems to be a little bit confused about where he is.
I don't know what Minnesota is. Where is that, please?
Come on, dude. Minnesota is my home state. You were president for 4 years and you don't know where Minnesota is? Well, it also appears that you have a little bit of trouble talking about Yosemite National Park, too.
When they gaze upon Yosemites, towering sequoias.
Yosemites? I got to remember that one. Next time I see a bunch of my fellow Jews coming down the road, I'm going to say, Yo, Semites, what's up? And speaking of Semites, it now appears that Fox News' Laura Logan is putting out a conspiracy theory that Darwin invented the theory of evolution and was paid by Jews to do it.
And they can, go back to the Big Bang Theory and Darwin. I mean, when I found out, does anyone know who employed Darwin, where Darwinism comes from?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, look it up. The
Yeah.
Rothschilds.
Yeah.
It goes right back to 10 Downing Street.
All the way.
And the same people who employed Darwin. And that's when Darwin, wrote his theory of evolution and so on and so on.
Oh, come on, Laura. You get an F for creativity. The Rothschilds again? Oh, come on. Can't you think of something a little more original? And the fact is that Darwin was self-financed. He came from a wealthy family, and while we usually think of him as looking like this picture, the fact is he was 22 years old when he went on a 5-year-long voyage aboard the Beagle. HMS Beagle did belong to the British government. However, its mission was to create accurate maps and test out various navigational devices. And so Darwin was really kind of along for the ride. And one of the reasons he self-financed himself was because he wanted to keep control of his specimens. I mean, even as it was back then, it was the same as it is today. Someone hires you to do something, what you collect belongs to them. And so Darwin was not hired by Jews. And, Laura, you seem to be implying that this was done to debunk the Bible. Didn't you know that the Bible is originally a Jewish text? I mean, why would we want to debunk our own theology? And we come now to the theology department, where it seems that, once again, the ex-president is bragging that he did more than anyone else for religion.
Nobody has done more for Christianity. Nobody has done more for religion of all type than me.
Well, I don't think that's quite true. If you think back to this scene from DeMille's movie, The 10 Commandments.
And the people sinned a great sin, for they had made them a god of gold. And they bore him upon their shoulders and rejoiced, saying, This be our God, O Israel.
And there you have it, folks. I think that's a wrap. Okay, Hal, would you turn off the snow machine, please?
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.